Good morning. I will call Nashville Sounds and First Horizon Park for hosting us today. I'd also like to take this opportunity to welcome two new board members. We have Tiffany Graffin-Reed. Hello. And we have Moncherie Holmes-Jones.
Hi, everyone.
And we look forward to working with you. We're so glad you're here. I've had the opportunity to cross paths with both of you in the past, and I look forward to doing that here. Glad to meet you. We also are happy to welcome back Jad Duncan and Emmett Wynn, who were recently reappointed. So glad to have you guys back. And finally, I'd like to announce that I've appointed Dan Hogan as Finance Chair and also have added Don Deering to the Finance Committee. So we made those adjustments. And just as a point of order, if anyone's interested in serving in any capacity, please let us know so that when we have openings, we will put your name into consideration because we want to make sure that you work in a space that you feel most comfortable with. With that being said, I've been asked by technology to ask anyone speaking today to speak directly into the mic so that you can be heard clearly. No one reached out today for public comment, so we will move on to the next item on the agenda, which is consideration of the minutes from the January 11th, 2024 and December 14th, 2023 meeting.
Motion for approval.
Second.
Any discussion or corrections? If not, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposers, nay. Minutes are approved. Now we'll hear from Monica Hoffmanson, our Executive Director. Monica.
Good morning again. Thank you for being here. I spoke a lot in the Finance Committee, so I'm going to try to keep this a little shorter. I also want to welcome Tiffany and Moncherie, and we're excited to have you and excited to have Jad and Emmett back as well. So thank you for agreeing to serve and to continue your service. You have the agenda before you. In addition to a number of recommendations that will come from the Finance Committee, the board will consider several items. First, there's a resolution authorizing the granting of an easement on the East Bank. We're also going to consider a resolution approving preliminary design plans for the new football stadium. And then finally, a resolution approving the naming of an area at Geodis Park. The board will also receive updates from the Titans and then, of course, the First Horizon Park report. Are there any questions about the agenda? Okay. The only other thing that I want to mention is a recent Tennessean story on Nashville Black Leaders to Know in 2024. Is a great list, and hopefully you got a chance to see it. But we're so proud of our chair, Bender, who was first up on that list, and so congratulations. Also, and I saw him earlier, Adolfo Birch, right there in front of me. Take my glasses off, I can see him. Was also on that list, so congratulations to you as well. Both very well deserved, and we appreciate your leadership. If there are no other questions, that concludes my report.
Great. As always, thank you so much for the support. It's an honor to serve, especially here. With that being said, we're going to have from our Finance Committee, Director Justice is standing in for Chair Hogan this morning. So I'll turn it over to you.
The Finance Committee met this morning at 9:30 to review the December 14th meeting minutes. To consider the resolution approving the audit of the MLS Stadium construction project recommendations. This was deferred from our December meeting in order to provide staff time to research the costs associated with it.
Excuse me, Director. I don't think that we're picking up on the mic. I'm seeing people in the audience saying that they can't hear, so.
All right, is this better? Okay. All right, the Finance Committee met this morning at 9:30. We approved the December 14th meeting minutes. We considered a resolution approving the audit of the MLS Stadium construction project recommendations. This was deferred from our December meeting in order to provide staff time to research the costs associated with it. The recommendation was made that the authority included cost of compliance as part of the overall construction budget. Bill Walker with Metro Audit is still here to, yeah, he's back there, and he's available to answer any questions. The Finance Committee recommends approval, and I move for adoption.
All right, it's been moved and properly seconded that we would approve Metro Internal Audit's recommendations included within the Major League Soccer Stadium Construction Project Audit. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposers, nay. Motion passes.
All right. We also review the fiscal year 25 First Horizon Park Capital Plan and considered a resolution approving the plan. Adam English and Doug Scopel with the sounds are available to answer any questions. All right, if there's no questions, the Finance Committee recommends approval and move for adoption.
So moved. Second.
Discussion? Any questions for Adam or his team? Okay, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposers, nay. Motion passes.
In addition, Director Falknerson walked us through the fiscal year 25 operating capital budgets. The FY25 budget is status quo from FY24. The capital improvements budget includes improvements for First Horizon Park. The Finance Committee recommends approval, and I move for adoption.
So moved.
Consideration of the department's proposed fiscal year 25 operating and capital budgets. Any questions or discussion? The motion and second. All of those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposers, nay. Motion passed.
Madam Chair, if there's no further questions, this concludes my report.
Thank you so much. Next on our agenda, consider approval of a resolution authorizing the granting of a permanent and temporary easement to Colonial Pipeline Company on a parcel of property owned by the Sports Authority. At this time, we're going to invite Mark Sturdivant from the East Bank team, and he will make the request. Good morning, Mark. Other mic, please.
Hello? There we go. All right. So, start over. My name is Mark Sturdivant. I work on the East Bank team as part of the Metro Planning Department. We're here today to ask for an approval for an easement for the Titans project. And let me give you just a little bit of background. I think you recall there are 3 utilities that have to be relocated for the project to begin construction. The first was a Metro 60-inch water main, which has already been relocated and completed. The second was a Piedmont natural gas line, which has been also relocated and completed. And so the third is now this Colonial Pipeline, which is the last thing. And so the route for the relocation, it's really simple. If you can just kind of imagine the location of 2nd and Russell Street by the Juvenile Justice Center, and it runs west in Russell Street towards the river until you get to Titans Way, and then it turns south towards the pedestrian bridge and runs along Titans Way until you get to Victory Avenue, and then it turns back east and runs towards the interstate until it gets back to 2nd. And so it's just a big U-shape alignment and route. The layout is also very simple. They have 2 pipelines that they have to relocate. One is an 8-inch line, the other is a 12-inch line. So the layout is 10 feet and then a pipe, 10 feet, a pipe, and 10 feet. There's also in this easement a provision that they have what's called a workspace easement, and that's to ensure that if they ever have to do work or maintenance, that there's places for their equipment, dump trucks and things like that. which is actually pretty easy for us to accommodate in this case because it's located in the street. So we have lots of space. So that's the layout, that's the route, and this is the last piece we needed to get these three things relocated before the Titans start. So answer any questions if you have them. Otherwise, we're asking for you to approve this today.
Any questions?
Mark, this is different than the pipeline that we rerouted around the stadium, right, that we did. That was probably the Metro gas, right?
I'm sorry. I'm not sure I understood what you're...
There was a line that we approved, I don't know, many months ago.
This is one of the three.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Other questions? Yes, Director.
Wonder if that had any effect on the juvenile justice system.
And they are building a new juvenile justice center. So,
Other questions or
I have
comments?
a question. I say, Mark, just for clarity, can you give us like the implications of this not happening?
It's right in the middle of the site. They can't begin excavation until it's removed.
Thank you.
One of my questions is it temporary? Because it says temporary, is it just temporary?
The temporary easement is for them to do construction.
Okay.
So
So
that'll,
once that's done, then we'll
Correct.
go back, yeah.
Other questions, Omar? Not? I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposers, nay. Thank you, Mark. Motion passes. So recently, we had a work session, and today we will consider approval of the resolution approving the preliminary design plans for an enclosed stadium. And so we're going to ask Ron Goebel and Jim P. to give some remarks.
Thank you, Madam Chair. To refresh your memory, GHP and CPS are acting program managers working for the Sports Authority on this project. Some of our activities, I think you have a packet that summarizes some of the things that we're working on. We won't get into those kind of issues. But as we said in the January 11th work session, the architect has to go through several stages to finalize the drawings and the specifications that will be used to build the building. There, on October 20th, we received 50% of the design development documents for review, and is to be approved by the Sports Authority. So that package is roughly halfway through the development of the plans and specifications. You will be asked to approve the 100% sometime this summer, September, maybe into September or October. But right now we need to approve this 50% set. Our firms have reviewed those documents and recommend approval.
Any questions? I would like to just say that we really appreciate the information and the transparency of that work session. We learned a lot. It was time well spent, so we appreciate of that. With that, I would entertain a motion for approval of the 50% preliminary design plans for the enclosed football stadium.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, discussions? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposers, nay. Motion passes. Thank you. Now it's time for our monthly stadium update. So we're going to invite Adolfo Birch, Chief External and League Affairs Officer, to give us an update.
Thank you. Thank you for letting us come up and talk this month. I'd like to take a minute to indulge another report, if I can. Great. Shannon Myers, under separate cover, you will have received the report on the capital expenditures So I thought it might be helpful for you to let her run down kind of a summary of this month's report and kind of give you an idea about tomorrow's as well, or next month's as well.
Thank you, Adolfo. Shanna Myers, Chief Financial Officer for the Tennessee Titans. Just wanted to quickly hit on an update of current Nissan Stadium CapEx. So in your materials, I'm not exactly sure which page, but there is a one-page memo. It's just an executive summary. I can give you a minute to flip as we might be.
You'll find it behind the green tab that says Nissan Stadium.
Thank you, Monica. So on that memo, just wanted to give a quick update. So if you recall, everything prior to September 1st was waived. So this report is as of September 1st going forward. So every month we will give you an update on any completed items. So on there you'll see 5 completed items totaling around $136,000. Again, all of those items are safe and reliable operation of current Nissan Stadium. Do have our ongoing projects that are currently still in place. Our main switchboards and passenger elevator, we've talked about those items in previous meetings, but those projects are ongoing and should be done by the end of April. But where I wanted to give an update, we're on anticipated items. This memo was as of February 1st, so at that point there were no anticipated items. Our March 1st memo, which is already on Friday, will have 2, so I thought I should give you an update since we're talking. We will have an additional fire safety and security projects, fixing fire alarms, fire switches, estimating that at around $23,000, still working through that project. And then we are also in this off-season walking the stadium, looking at our crumbling steps. And so all of our crumbling steps that we're identifying, we'll be doing concrete work to repair those. Don't have an estimate for that right now. I will have an estimate by Friday, but since we had your attention, I at least wanted to give you those updates. So that was my quick update on current Nissan Stadium CapEx, and happy to answer any questions you have.
Questions?
Thank you. I'll turn it back over to Adolfo.
Sure. And of course, I think we probably stated it in the materials, but all of those expenses and the expenses we'll be submitting are consistent with the requirements for what types of projects are included in the amended lease agreement. So with that, let me see if I can see where your where the report is tabbed this year. Oh, 7, thank you. So we submitted, we're trying to get on a reliable cadence of the nature and type of the report that we're providing to you all. But I wanted to at least walk through and highlight a couple of things in each of the sections that may be of particular note or interest to you. But clearly, the detail of the substance of the progress that we've had so far for January is listed in there, so you'll be able to read that at your leisure. So let me start with the sort of stadium construction. In the past couple of months, we have completed the design development phase. We're continuing with the pre-construction work. And in that respect, we are currently focused on the review and cost analysis of the design development and the preparation for site mobilization and the development of the procurement packages. The 50% design development was submitted on January the 11th, which you guys have just addressed. We're now working with the construction management team on the detailed cost, the estimating exercise for the 50% design development. In that collaboration with working on the bidding strategies, the project schedule, and sort of how to work on cost savings where appropriate. We also submitted what's called a limited notice to proceed to you to continue that work in advance of getting the actual guaranteed maximum price from our construction manager at risk down the line that allows everyone to continue forward with the project in that interim. We are working with Metro and the other stakeholders on site logistics, in particular during construction, whether that has to do with parking or laydowns or reroutes, all of the sorts of things that you would think of that are going to be necessary to figure out as the construction project really starts to take shape. Perhaps most important on the construction end, I think all of you hopefully know, but we have scheduled the groundbreaking ceremony for this Thursday, the 29th, and we are particularly proud of that moment and are hoping that it is the full kickoff for what will be an on-time and on-schedule and on-budget project going forward. Infrastructure, you heard a little bit. You approved a couple of things related to the infrastructure today, but as has been mentioned, the Piedmont gas relocation, that has been done. The Colonial gas line is in process, should be finished in April or May. The 4 sewer main is completed, and we're also trying to clean up on the restoration and the abandonment work from the old line. That should be done relatively shortly. And then I think you probably have heard something about the sewer pump station. So that is that project is scheduled to begin this summer, and that, if you recall, is a sort of a joint project between Metro and the team to create a sewer pump station that can house not only the requirements for the stadium, but the surrounding development as it comes online. So it's a really important project and one that we're eager to get underway with. From a budgeting standpoint, I think the numbers are in your report, but the project so far has spent $89,754,761, and that goes through the end of January of this year and represents about 4% of the total stadium budget. For the last approved monthly pay application, which would have been December of 23, project has spent a total of $4.944 million, or $4,944,446. Going forward, I would probably note that the Business Assistance Office at Metro will be putting online a specialized software package that will allow the aggregation of all of the budgeting reports, and particularly to allow the tracking of the DBE utilization. I think I've talked to you before about the collaboration with the Business Assistance Office and trying to help determine what those objectives should be. They are providing invaluable assistance to us on that, and we think that the utilization will ultimately reflect the product of that collaboration. For the East Bank generally, I think there are a couple of notes. One, we've been working with Metro and the rest of the East Bank team on the plan for the plazas that are surrounding the stadium. That in particular has related to site coordination and is designed to kind of fit in and understand what the plan is for the East Bank development overall. And then finally, I probably would talk about the One Community. As you know, beyond the progress on the construction end, one of the keys to the entirety of the project, from at least the Titans' concern, has been our One Community, which is designed to look at the overall community-related initiatives that are not only sort of attached to the stadium project, but really designed to be broader and address some of the city's challenges as a whole. So in that respect, to update you, two things that probably are of note. One, we've worked with the Civic Design Center and a number of stakeholders in North Nashville on the Luby Center community plan. which was part of what we announced as one of the areas we were going to focus on at the time. But we now have formed a steering committee that's actually going to help to lead the vision for how that community campus over there, the Louis Center campus, ultimately will be able to progress. Second thing, we had previously reported to you about the launch of the digital computer lab at Luby, and that was met with great fanfare, I think, by most who understood that the opportunities that were being provided for kids in that area through that project. We did that in conjunction with Metro Parks, but I think now we can announce, and I'm proud that we can announce that the resource hubs in McFerrin Park and at Coleman Park will both now also receive laptops, printers, Wi-Fi, other technology to help them with their programming, their learning, and their enrichment for their schools. So that, our projects on that end are starting to bear wider fruits, and we're particularly proud of that as well. There are a number of other different things that have been going on in terms of progress being made on the One Community initiatives, and I would encourage all of you to read the report for a little more detail if it's of interest to you. So with that, I think that would conclude my summary of our report, but I'm certainly happy to take any questions that anyone might have.
Questions or comments? Rodolfo? Thank you for your update.
See you next
Thank you. Next, we will consider approval of a resolution approving the naming of a certain area of Geodis Park pursuant to the terms of the lease agreement between the Sports Authority and Walsh Management. We're going to ask Lindsay Paola, Chief Operating Officer of the Nashville Soccer Club, to come and make that request.
Good morning. My name is Lindsay Paola, and I am the Chief Operating Officer. We would like to rename our Premier Club, which is the center club on our club level, the Transcard Premier Club. Currently, Transcard had been one of our partners on one of the Northwest terraces, so we would just rename it to the Transcard Premier Club.
Okay. So this is a requirement of the board to approve. However, we may not withhold approval for any unreasonable reason. So with that in mind, I would entertain a motion to approve the request to change the name to Transcard.
So moved.
Second. Any discussion, questions? Not? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposers, nay. Thank you and congratulations. So we will now open the floor for facility questions for any of our partners. If you have questions about the venue or events or anything on your mind about a specific partner that you'd like to ask a question, feel free to do that this time. Okay, seems like we're current. So finally, we're going to ask Adam English and Doug Stoffel to give us the First Horizon report.
Hello again. It's just me this time. I wanted to start off and just give you guys kind of a quick recap of 2023. We had a tremendous year in 2023. We grew our attendance over our 2022 number, which is always really important that more people are coming to First Horizon Park. In 2022 is when we won Minor League Baseball Organization of the Year. They don't give that out to the same team 2 years in a row. So we were number one in minor league baseball in attendance in 21 and 22. We were number 3 last year. So we fell 2 spots. And that's not because other teams are better than us. That is because we rained out 2 Saturdays. So if we hadn't rained out those 2 Saturdays, we would have beaten them. Very proud of our staff. I'd put our staff up against any in minor league baseball. We had Jackson Churio, who currently is the number 2 prospect in all of Major League Baseball. We had him for a whopping 6 games at the end of the season. He's 19 years old. The Brewers rewarded him with a 10-year, $80 million contract after only playing 6 games at AAA. So he's pretty good, and we expect him to start the year in Milwaukee. But, hey, he was a Sound for 6 days. If you want to go to the next slide, just starting off with some pictures of just what it's like to be out here. Last year, we put in a wiffle ball field. It's turf. You can see kind of lights and everything behind it there. We want to continue to make this the premium experience in minor league baseball between our 9-hole golf course, with each hole created by a different local artist, to the wiffle ball field, to just family-friendly fun. We're continually trying to look at ways to continue to expand the First Horizon Park experience. Coming up for this upcoming season, and I think the good thing here is I think we host you guys again in September. So you'll get to see kind of a preview, and then you'll get to hear from me on how it all went. So Margaritaville, close to Doug Scopel's heart. And we want to honor Jimmy Buffett in the best way we can, too, after he passed this past year. But we're doing a Margaritaville hat. One of the brand new things we've never been able to do because of licensing is we've never been able to celebrate a Harry Potter night at the ballpark. Major League Baseball entered a licensing agreement with the appropriate people, so we're going to do kind of a sorting hat, the 4 different houses of Harry Potter, and do some fun things with that. Again, as a way to continue to appeal to families and kids and our core demographic. We always like to highlight Booster in some way, just the hottest chicken on the market. And then as popular as, the Stanley tumblers are, we thought that our fans would react very nicely to a Nashville Sounds tumbler. Probably the giveaway I'm most excited about and most proud of is we've made our largest investment from a giveaway perspective into honoring the Negro League baseball players that played on the site where this stadium sits. It's the site of Sulphur Dell. Dr. Harriet Kimbrough Hamilton has been an integral part of making sure that we not only tell this story, but we tell it the right way. She finally stopped arguing with me when I said I wanted to honor her father, Henry Kimbrough. And so this year we're doing a Henry Kimbrough bobblehead giveaway, which I'm very excited about. And that kind of ties into the next section where we talk about community. Our community initiatives have never been more on the forefront of our business. They've never been more important than they are right now. And we have continued to expand. We continue to do pop-up baseball. We do between 5 and 7 of these a year. We go to local elementary schools. We surprise the kids. We show up with equipment, bats, balls, tees, everything they need to play. We teach them baseball. And then we leave the equipment with them so they can continue to have it at their school. And that's been continually well received. We have continued to expand the Nashville Sounds Foundation Scholarship, where we reward, 4 Middle Tennessee students each year with a $2,500 scholarship to continue their education. That we've given north of $70,000 to students pursuing higher education since the ballpark opened here. Jersey auctions. We also have unique jersey auctions. We can do 4 or 5 of these a year, according to Major League Baseball. We always do a military jersey. We always try to tie it into a theme that kind of brings the whole game to life for the fans. But we raised just over $20,000 in jersey auctions this year, the majority of which went back to local Middle Tennessee nonprofits. And talking about Henry Kimbrough, the 9 initiative, this was introduced. The reason it's called the 9 for some of the new people on the board is because that's the number that Jackie Robinson wore his only year in the minor leagues. And so this has been a huge part of us telling this story over the past 3 years. And so it's a Black community outreach. We partner with local HBCUs to offer their students. We're actually hosting TSU next week, something similar to what I know the Preds and Titans have done, where they're going to get it 4 days next week, 9 to 5. They're going to shadow us. They're going to hear from all the leaders in our organization on what it's like to work in baseball. And then they have a 5th day where they will come back on a game day and actually shadow us on a game day to see some of their ideas come to life. So that's something we're really proud of. We also want to honor the history of the ground that we play on. And then the third is we want to make a big community impact. And last year, I'm really proud to say We donated $50,000 to the Parkwood Field renovations. We announced that project finally last year, and we announced it in a great partnership with Habitat for Humanity. I was able to bring the Major League Baseball Players Association, Youth Development Foundation to the table to support that project, as well as other community partners. And I can't say enough positive about Habitat for Humanity really driving this project with us as well. And we raised $1.7 million to put in turf fields at Parkwood. That project is planned to break ground in the fall, and something that we're really excited to make premium fields available to the community very close to us in our backyard, which is oftentimes one of the biggest struggles as to getting more and more people to play baseball when they're young, is access to really good fields. So it's Major League Baseball and the Youth Development Foundation came in for $500,000. They continue to support this and growing the game of baseball. So it is something that we're continuing to put a huge focus on, and something we're really excited about for 2024. We also continue to do our Charities of the Game. Charities can come out, highlight the work that they do in the community as a part of all 75 of our home games. And then lastly, the last couple of pages here, we've continued to expand our Copa de la Diversión program, which is again similar to the 9, is a Hispanic community outreach program where we transform from the Sounds to the Vihuelas de Nashville. We actually just got a request from a Little League in California to use our likeness in an all Latin Little League, and they want it to be all Copa teams from across the country. So lots of really cool stuff. We expanded this from doing a couple of games a year to, at minimum, we do one of these a month. And so our fans get to come out. Sometimes they're a little confused, but it's just an opportunity for them to learn about our different initiatives. They said, I thought we came to see the Sounds. What is the Vihuelas? And so we get another opportunity to continue to educate them on how we're engaging with as many Nashvillians and Sounds fans in Middle Tennessee as we can. And lastly, we also continue to do the Sertoma Fantasy Camp, where we bring out kids that are hard of hearing for just a day of baseball fun, teaching skills, all that kind of stuff. And I'm also excited to announce that the Savannah Bananas came last year for 2 games. It was very fun. They're coming for 3 games this year. Nashville's one of their favorite markets, and that was highlighted last year by one of their pitchers driving our largest tractor, parking it behind the pitcher's mound, and playing an inning with our tractor on the field. So we're excited to continue to welcome non-baseball events, and many of them, back to Nashville as often as we can. Happy to take any questions, and really excited for the season.
When are the Savannah Bananas coming back?
June 13 through 15. But more important than that is our opening day is April 2nd. So.
I had that already.
I do have a question. How do y'all select which schools you do the pop-up baseball?
A lot of it's just our outreach and who will let us come. I think that, anyone who's interested, we have our community relations manager reaching out to all of the schools in and around Nashville, seeing how welcome they are to us doing that. And there isn't really a selection process as much as people saying, hey, we want you to come, and we decide that based off of availability.
Any other questions for Adam? Not, I'll just say great report.
Thank you.
We're always glad to hear from our partners. But one of the common themes I think that you all heard today as new members is the commitment to the community. And so we love to hear the business part, but we're excited about the things you're doing in the community and around Nashville. So
Thank you very much.
All right. So this concludes our agenda. I'd like to thank our staff, Metro Legal, Metro Finance, and all of our facility partners for your contributions. Our next meeting is scheduled for Thursday, March 21st. Staff will confirm the location and whether the Finance Committee will meet prior to. Are there any final questions or comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Second. Thank you. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.